All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you're at. My name is Kyle King. I'm the Managing Director of Capacity Builder International here with another Teams webinar to close out 2022. And so I'm just going to be here for just a couple of minutes just to go through a couple of slides, and then I'll turn over to Harold Drager and Ron Offer, and they will go through the presentation on the Impetus project and specifically the tools they've developed for smart cities. So what we're going to do really quick before we get started, and Harold, I guess you want to start with the video, is that correct?
Yes, we will.
Okay, let me just go ahead and share that. Make sure we can share the sound.
Welcome to a brief presentation of the Impetus project, which receives funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 research program under Grant Agreement 883286. The Impetus acronym stands for the Intelligent Management of Processes, Ethics, and Technology for Urban Safety. More information about this project and its progress can be found at the Impetus website at www.impetus-project.eu. The main goal of the Impetus project is to work with smart cities to improve the security of public spaces. In order to do that, this project will address three important issues. 1. How can advanced technology improve the security of a smart city? 2. How will this technology affect the daily routines and operations for those who manage smart cities, and specifically the safety and security of the public? And 3. What ethical considerations must be considered when addressing new technologies and smart cities for public safety? The Impetus project consists of a consortium of 16 partners, with Sintef in Trondheim, Norway, as the consortium leader. Project partners represent 11 different European and associated countries. The project itself started on the 1st of September in 2020 and will conclude on the 28th of February in 2023 with a total budget of 9.3 million euro, out of which the European Commission funding is 7.9 million euro. The 16 consortium partners represent a diverse group of stakeholders from research institutions to universities and NGOs, as well as public authorities and industry, all who share an interest in the public safety field. As the map shows, project partners are represented by a number of nations both in and outside of the EU. In order to test the Impetus technology and public safety solution, 2 cities partnered with the consortium. Those cities are Oslo in Norway and Padova in Italy. Both cities will test the Impetus technology and platform, collect live data, and will be the location of the final live exercise testing. The Impetus project team also established a community of smart and secure cities to serve as a reference group and to seek advice and guidance during project development. The community mandate is to influence the project direction and ensure project results fit both end user and market needs. One of the goals of the Impetus project is that this community of smart and secure cities will become a sustainable community after the project itself is complete, with a focus on smart city research, development, and promotion. At present, there are over 40 members of COSEC, representing a wide array of interested partners. This community includes smart cities, EU projects, universities, smart city technology consultants, and experts on personal data protection, counterterrorism, smart city software solution providers, as well as city police organizations and research centers. If you are interested in joining the community or finding out more information, please contact Sandro, the community manager, at the email address on the left side of the screen. The first technical and acceptance testing of the Impetus solution took place in Oslo on the 4th and 5th of November in 2021 at the Oslo City Hall. The Impetus technology was put into use at the Security Operations Center, or SOC. The SOC operator tested the platform to assess the added value and importance of connectivity and integration of various tools, which is exactly what the Impetus project provides through its integrated platform. The Impetus project team also monitored the stress level of the SOC operator during the testing process to inform the project team about the usability and effectiveness of the user interface within the integrated platform dashboard. Since weapon detection is one of the Impetus tools, this particular scenario included a simulation of an attack with a gun outside of the City Hall. The attack was simulated and monitored by CCTV cameras, and once observed, sent an alarm and notified the SOC operator via the Impetus integration platform. As this was the first testing of the Impetus project, the project team received valuable feedback from the SOC operator and the Oslo City Security Center concerning the usability of the Impetus solution and for future improvements of the tools and the project overall development. A similar technical and acceptance testing took place in Padova, Italy, on the 1st and 2nd of December 2021. To ensure the test built upon the experience gained in Oslo, the SOC operator from Norway's test was present to share experiences. Physical threat response optimization is one of the impetus tools. Therefore, a simulation took place with a crowd of volunteers evacuating Piazza del Signore in Padova. Police assistance included facilitating public evacuation and crowd control, and the time and flow of evacuees was monitored in order to collect data for the physical threat response optimization tool. While the Impetus project is ambitious, there are many tangible results expected. A total of 9 tools are in development based on existing technology, and all connected to the Impetus integration platform. The development of these tools will lead to the publishing of 3 practitioners' guides to share the experience, lessons, and knowledge across the community. In addition, a number of lessons have been identified from the project thus far and will be documented and shared in order to support community and partner development. The integration platform is the nucleus and central part of the Impetus technology solution for smart cities. Different tools connect to the platform and send signals, alarms, or alerts to the platform based on observations, findings, or calculations. The Impetus software platform development is based on the Snap for City open software solution, which is developed and maintained by the University of Florence in cooperation with partners and end users. The Snap for City open software solution provides several tools for the users to adapt and develop for their own use case scenario. More information on Snap for City can be found on the Snap for City website at www.snapforcity.org. A key issue for the end user, the operator at the Security Operations Center, is the Impetus integration platform and its user interface. This is how the SOC operator can communicate with the platform and the various Impetus tools. The user interface is designed and built using the dashboard builder in the Snap for City software, where the various Impetus tools connect and a user interface is created reflecting each tool and its respective information display. The SOC operator will have a single overview of all the tools and will be able to start a calculation, simulation, or receive an alarm. And the slide shows an example of the dashboard itself. The 9 Impetus tools under development are shown on this slide and all connect to the Impetus integration platform. Some of these tools were tested during the previous exercise and testing phases mentioned earlier. In addition, the Impetus project will produce practitioners' guides, and those include security operations in smart cities, cybersecurity in smart cities, and ethics and data privacy during security operations. The guidelines will provide a set of best practices from the Impetus experience and will provide reference information and training material. The Impetus project launched a public perception survey on smart city technology with the citizens in Oslo and Padova, the 2 partner cities. The information from the survey has been integrated into the practitioner's guide on ethics and data privacy to be published by Impetus. The following slides will cover the results of the survey. First, there were 3 focus areas of the survey. How familiar are you with the topic of smart cities? The level of worry that you may have about the amount of collected digital data, and the level of worry that you may have with the different types of data collected. In terms of the familiarity with the concept of smart cities, there is no significant difference between the answers from the citizens in Padova and Oslo. However, one key point is that only about 30% of those surveyed were familiar with the concept of a smart city itself. Next is the concerns or worry about the level of collected data. Overall, those surveyed in Padova seem less worried than the public does in Oslo, and that's just one significant observation. While there have not been any follow-up questions, a number of factors could impact the survey results, such as culture, climate, public education, and public views on the importance of security. And then the level of worry about the type of data collected. While there is no significant difference between the answers from those surveyed in Padova and Oslo, there was one important observation that citizens are most concerned with CCTV cameras following their movement throughout the city. That is followed by the concern over digital data collection from routine activities, such as data collection from shopping online or web search activities. While we have just provided an overview of the Impetus project and solutions, the project still has 10 months remaining over the project period. All the experiences gained so far will be used to further refine and develop the Impetus project tools, with the aim of providing usable solutions and achievable results at the end of the project. Milestones have also included exercise and testing of the Impetus solution in Oslo and Padova in August and October this year. These tests served as more proof of concept used for real-time testing and will allow for further refinement towards the end of the project in February 2023. In addition, the project team will continue development of the Impetus solution, documentation, and information for the community. Thus far, more than 100 experts from 11 countries have participated in the Impetus project. The development of the Impetus solution, platform, tools, guides, and documentation is all a credit to these experts and their significant contributions to the project's success. And as you can see here, while the pandemic has made it difficult for the project team to meet in person, It was possible for some of the team to meet in Oslo in November 2021 and in Padova in December 2021, and there was also an in-person meeting in Trondheim in April of 2022. Thank you for your time and interest in the Impetus project. If you'd like to know more about the project itself or have specific questions about the tools, best practices, or solutions, please contact Joe or Harold via their emails listed on the slide. You can also find out more details on the Impetus website at www.impetus-project.eu. And finally, please feel free to share this Impetus project information across your network and to anyone that might be interested in joining the Impetus community. Thank you.
Okay, so that's just a quick overview of the Impetus project. Now, Harold, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, can you open my video? I think I'm coming. There we are. Thank
There we
you,
go.
Kyle, for running the video. I am I'm Harold Drager, president of Teams, but in the project that was sent the video, I'm the communication and dissemination manager. So we thought running the video give you an overview of the project. And there was one small error in the video because it was made in May, saying there were 10 months left, which is not true at this stage because we will end the project in February, end of February. And then the video will be updated accordingly. And we are also doing a dissemination day in Rotterdam on the 30th and 31st of January. That will all be on the Impetus website, which is impetus-project.eu. So go there and you can see if you also would like to join this final dissemination. But I know, like what we have done now, we have given the opportunity for 3 of the solutions which are developed during the Impetus project. They did exist before, but it's further developed. And we will start with Ron Offer from Cybersixgill in Israel, who will tell about cyber intelligence tool. So with no more introduction, Ron, please start your presentation.
Thank you, Harold. Just a second to share my screen. All right. Okay, thank you, Harold. Thank you, Kyle, for having me. So for those who do not know me, my name is Ron. I'm a project manager at Cybersixgill. The company was established in 2014. Our headquarters is stated in Tel Aviv, as well as most of the company. We are about 100 employees and with representatives spread across the globe from North America to Europe and Asia. But without any further ado, let me dive right in. So I want to first start with what Cybersixgill offers as a product. And first and foremost, our product is threat intelligence data. And looking at this phrase, threat intelligence data, we can divide it into 3 parts: threat, intelligence, and data. When we're talking about threats, although most of the traffic in the underground is related to different cyber crimes, we also find other use cases out there, not only cyber crimes or crimes that related to cyber. The second thing is intelligence. Intelligence is a collection of information and which is prior to the event that provides decision makers the ability to make better decisions. If the information comes after the event, has already happened, the ability, it's not of intelligence, is more of a describing what had happened. And the last thing is data, meaning that the information we provide is not only pieces of information, it is a comprehensive data with context from a wide spectrum of sources and in real time. Now, that is our core business, the data that we provide. On top of the data, we apply a layer of advanced AI and machine learning algorithms that extract the data and then analyze and deliver high fidelity intel at scale to the end user. The last step that we take is that we take this data and we operate it through various consumption platforms, or if you want, delivery vehicles to address multiple customer use cases and needs. The interesting thing that we, Cybersixgill, experienced participating in Impetus project came from the customer perspective point of view. The traditional customer that we usually had are of two natures. One is the private sector, and the second is the public sector. The private sector is like more comprised of different sized enterprises, financial sector, and tech and communication companies, and so on. And the public sectors is mostly governments and law enforcement agencies. And like I said, participating in Impetus opened us to another category, which is the combination of the last two, the city. The city is somewhere between a governmental entity and an enterprise. On the one hand, it shares responsibility with protecting the citizens' life and the civilian environment under its jurisdiction, more like a state, and where in that case the end user is a party like the local police, for example, that promotes the citizens' physical security and interested in use cases like terror or narcotics or weapons. And on the other hand, within the same city, another goal is to protect the city's assets, more like of an enterprise. In that sense, the end user is the IT department of the municipality, who its main goal is to monitor the city's assets within its internal network, like the city's websites, the city's domains, the IPs, and etc. So that's something that we took definitely from joining and participating in Impetus project. Now, since the whole idea of this webinar is also about crisis management, I want to explain the position that our company holds within the cybersecurity domain, using a crisis management analogy in the physical world, which I think that sits fairly well, in my opinion, with cyber incidents. So from a physical disaster perspective, we can look at three relevant phases: the before, the during, and the after, or the post. The before phase is usually characterized by some misleading silence, right? Like you wake up to just another sunny day, nothing seems suspicious. Most of the time, there is not even an early indication that can suggest that something is about to happen, and everything works normally. But under the surface, there is an emerging structural failure, like a leaking pipe, for example, that slowly digs into the foundations. And then when the damaged to the element, when the damaged element eventually breaks, we enter the second phase, or the during phase, which is a sort of a transit phase. You don't stay there for long. It's more like it's a transit phase, and this phase is characterized by a chain of events that the one leads to another, and the first brick falls, and it starts a sort of a domino effect. Therefore, the escalation process is very, very fast. From the moment the first brick falls until the whole building collapses, it is a very short time period, and sometimes it's almost, and most of the time, it's even impossible to stop. Now, if we couldn't, or we were not able to detect any early indication in the before phase, and to stop from entering the during phase, most chances we will end up in the last and most painful phase, which is the after phase. In the after phase, we will meet the very brutal phase of reality when we refer to physical disaster, just like this one in Miami in 2021. Obviously, the casualties and the loss of life are the hardest part of this phase. But if we try to tie it back to cybersecurity, the effect of a single cyber attack spread from data exposure to data loss, extortions, ruined reputation of companies, huge financial loss, and even in extreme cases where the damage in infrastructure of it was critical. If we're talking, for example, about a hospital or any other health institution, it can also cause loss of lives. Now, the during and the after phases are generally handled by incident response team when we're talking about cyber, and they are expert in finding the attack vector, and they are conducting also network cleansing of the network to find any remaining backdoors, and there is a post-event recovery of the data. If possible, sometimes it's not even possible. Now, if we look at the building analogy, the incident response teams are basically the rescue teams, right? That we, unfortunately, in both cases, the physical and the digital world, we call after the building has already collapsed and not before. The before phase is where you gather the preemptive information that tells you, listen, if you won't take care of this specific leaking pipe, your building will collapse sooner or later. And Cybersixgill invests a tremendous amount of effort in building a profound database and also maintaining the top-notch capabilities of collections to enable the best intelligence for remediating any emerging threats and leaking pipes. So in the building analogy, we are the engineers, right? We continuously inspect the building and searching for any leaking pipes, trying to close them before they cause more damage. In case we already entered the after phase, Cybersixgill can also assist to incident response team with helping them understand where the attacker penetrated from, what provided them with the initial access, which is also very important when you're trying to end up an incident, cyber incident. So to reiterate this last point, our vision at Cybersixgill and what we believe in is that we provide a preemptive threat intelligence to help the organization to stay ahead of the attacker, as we said before, the intelligence in its nature must come before the event, so you can act upon it. The sooner you know that the threat actor is planning to do something, the faster that the faster and more effectively that you can defend against it. Now, I hope that I was able to convince you that cyber threat intelligence is important, or not only cyber, but it's threat intelligence data is important. And now I want to talk more about where threat intelligence comes from. So for some, in my opinion, the dark web is a very mysterious entity. These terms is being thrown out a lot, and people do not really understand what it is, what types of data it holds, or what are what and who are the people who access it. The dark web, all it really is an anonymous network that where user can access websites via different web browser like Tor or I2P, for example, and it allows them to anonymously engage with the unindexed part of the internet, as well as with other users. Having said that, we still need to remember that threats do not only exist on the dark web, right? They really can exist anywhere, on the clear, deep, and dark web, as well as on messaging platforms like Telegram, which threat actors like a lot. But again, the actual dark web sources that are the sources that require a browser, specific browser like Tor, for example, to get access to. Now, although our core capability is our coverage of those dark web sources, there are various types of sources, right? It's not just the dark web where threat actors are engaging with each other and engaging in malicious activity, communicating with each other, where they sell data, programs, they look for narcotics or weapons, whatever the case might be. So the dark web is not the only place. So, and that's why we also focus our collection on different section of the network. So let's talk quickly about what other sections of the network. So we have the clear web. The clear web is basically everything that you can access with the familiar search engine like Google, Google Chrome. From, for example, Twitter is a site on the clear web. The deep web is the parts of the internet that search engine cannot crawl or cannot, if you want, reach. For example, you can reach the Facebook login page, but you cannot reach someone's Facebook private account, right? Because it's locked behind a password. So that's technically already considered the deep web. The dark web is what we said, is all those parts of the internet that you cannot reach without a special authenticator like Chrome, like a Tor browser, and beyond, or what we call beyond, is like the social messaging platforms like Telegram and QQ, Discord, and so on. And in total, we like to refer to all those sources, the clear, deep, and dark web, and the social messaging platforms, is the underground, is a whole name, okay? But again, it encompasses all of these different types of sources where we see threat actors engaging in any activity. It can be malicious, sometimes it can be, I've seen many forums where people just feel more comfortable asking questions because it's anonymous. So let's move on to talk about the cyberspace reality, or if you want, might be the problem of the cyberspace. You may ask yourself how much data is out there. How is the dark web is such an active space? To answer this question, let's look at the test that we did to see what is happening in the dark web in a span of just 1 minute. Now, the truth is that there is every single day new sources that pop up with all types of different use cases, whether it's a fraud related use cases, cyber security related, narcotics, weapon, or anything like that. Tons of new data is being distributed and shared across those sources every single minute. Now the numbers here on the slide are a bit old, but it's good just to feel the pulse of the underground. So we are talking about, if we sum it up, all the numbers, about 4,500 events that are happening in just 1 minute. And believe me, the numbers are overwhelming in a week's time. Now, even though the numbers are that large, many security teams and analysts are still working manually. And unfortunately, today, manual approach to cyber intelligence is flawed. It's either impossible to do it with the traditional manual work, or it's just extremely difficult and time-consuming for the teams. So I want to talk about a little bit about the use cases that we can see and answer. All the use cases you see here are very common use cases that you can get through our platform, but there is many others. So if we start from leaked credentials and initial access brokers, which can often be the very first leaking pipes to an organization network, to stolen credit cards offered for sale, to hacktivism campaigns against a specific country or a specific city, and even traditional crimes like narcotics and weapon trafficking. Now, since we are collecting the data in a Cybersixgill, we're collecting the data agnostically, which means that we do not care about the data itself or who will consume it later. We do not need to know who our customers or how they will use it or what they will be interested in. When we access a source, we just collect all the data out there, no matter what it is. And in that case, once you log in to the platform, to Cybersixgill's platform, you can immediately find relevant information to your organization, even if we did not know of your intention to join our platform ahead of time. So we do not do any special collection just for you. The data is just sitting there, and unless users like you will consume it, it will just be laying there until somebody will. Now, this whole world is very, very challenging. And so I want to touch a little bit of the challenges that we encounter, just so you have a feeling of why such platform is needed and relevant for CTI teams, or cyber threat intelligence teams. So to enjoy this rich information from the underground, you need to overcome many obstacles, many significant challenges. The first is accessing dark web forums. Finding dark web forums or sources is not an easy task, because the problem with dark web sources, besides the fact that you need a special browser like Tor to reach, you actually need to have the exact onion link. You cannot search it on Google and find the link to the source because Google doesn't know those sites. It doesn't index them. So you might be able, through other websites that collect very well-known dark web sources, to get some of the links, but there are plenty other very well-known hacking forums, for example, that are very well known across threat actors that you won't be able to find unless you are collecting the links yourself. The second problem is the registration. Accessing the forum or finding the link is just one problem. Once you are in the homepage of the source that you found, in many of the sources, you need to register to. Now, some registration put a lot of high walls. For example, they ask for references to your background in hacking. They want to see like old works of what you did. Other ask for an invite from someone within the forum, so to know that you are a legit threat actor and not a law enforcement agency or even a threat intel company that try to log in. And others may even ask you to pay your way in. The third challenge is the language barrier. Not all sources in the dark web are in English. You will come across many sources that are in Russian or in Chinese or in French and other languages, and you will either have to know Chinese, sometimes even read and write in order to communicate, or just understand the context of the content that is in the source. And if you do not, then you will always have to rely on some technology to help you overcome the language barrier. The fourth challenge is the communication with threat actors. Now, this is a very important part, especially when there is a threat to your organization. And in trying to extract the intelligence, you will often find yourself communicating or reaching out to a threat actor in order to get the information relevant to you. This communication is also risky because when you try to remain anonymous on these different sources, communicating to threat actors might reveal your identity. And the last challenge that I want to touch is the stability and the continuity of the dark web sources. These sources in the dark web are not as stable as normal clear websites. They often go offline for various reasons related to the infrastructure of the site. Another reason why sources go down is because law enforcement agencies are acting to close them or to remove them, terminate their activity. So once a source like that goes offline, you lose access, obviously, and you also lose access to everything on it. With our platform, we have all the information that was there in the past kept. So even if the site goes down, you still have the ability to access it. So all these types of barriers can cause a lot of fatigue for analysts that are only trying to do their threat analyst intel job. So I want to offer an easier approach through a tool like Cybersixgill. So we are collecting all this data continuously from all different types of sources and we're doing it agnostically, like we said. We do not care what the threat actors are talking about, what threat they are targeting, or what organization they are targeting, or what data is shared. We collect it all, and then we provide that threat intelligence to the end user. We save him time, and we save him the dilemma of which sources he needs to go to, what sources he needs to register for, and anything like that. It will be all available to him all the time through the platform. The main goal is to provide the CDI team with the earliest indication of risk using an automated alerting machine. The automating alerts are not only causing the team to spend less time with sorting through the data manually, but it also gives giving them a full visibility to the threats, to the surrounding context, and it shares valuable insights with them. All this allow them, the analysts, to focus, mainly focus on the remediation processes and other important tasks they have within the organization, rather than gathering that intel, which can be a very tedious work. Now, that approach is obtained a trust of many very well-known companies within the market that find it very useful and use the platform regularly, as you can see. And basically, that's it. I'm here for any questions if there is. And thank you for listening, and thank you, Harold and Kyle, for inviting me to talk. It was a pleasure.
Okay, thanks a lot. So there is one comment, Ron. You can never prevent before all possible threats. You have to move from emergency management system to resilient systems for all dimensions of your system, from physical to organizational to social. So how does your tool help complement those aspects, those various different aspects?
Just a second, let me read again. I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but I'll answer to the extent that I understand. Our platform is a single source of truth, okay? It collects all the information to one place, and it takes the organization assets that the organization provided, and the moment that any of the assets was mentioned in different contexts in the dark web, we send the organization an alert. The alert can come from, like I said, all the sources. It can be social messaging platform, it can be Twitter, it can be all the dark web and deep web sources that we have access to, and you don't need to jump between platforms. It's all located within the same place. You have a feed of alerts, and you just go through the queue of alerts and answer each threat in the way you understand. If it's a compromised account of your organization, then you can change password, you can notify the user. If it's a credit card, then you can block the credit card. Each alert has its own a remediation process, but it's all located within the same place. there is no need to jump between different platforms. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, great. And you mentioned a number of challenges associated with collecting data from the dark web and other sources. How have you overcome these challenges, and how well are you able to do it?
Well, basically that's the company's job to overcome those obstacles. If we were not able to overcome them, then we probably would not able to provide all the information. I don't want to dive too deep into how we overcome it, but the idea, if we will take any each of the challenges that I mentioned, then each has its own solution. So for example, if we take in accessing and finding the links to the dark web forums, then we have different analysts that all they do all day is to look for different links within the groups that they're already in, sometimes communicating to other threat actor. We have like a human expert that they talk to threat actors and engaging with them, and they're already integrated within the community. So that one option. Languages, then we, for example, have someone who speaks Chinese in the company, then helps us to overcome the language barrier. Each challenge has its own solution. So basically that's the idea of overcoming, like each one we have a tailor-made solution kind of, and there's always a new challenges that rise up, for example.
I imagine it's constantly changing, right? And so I completely imagine that it's a changing landscape all the time. So, Ron, thank you so much for being here and joining us today. Where can we find out more information about Cybersixgill?
So in my last slide, there was, I can share it again.
Yep.
In my last slide, you can see the QR code. You can scan it and you'll be directed to Cybersixgill commercial site. You can read more. You can contact us if you want to hear more, to see a demo, if it's relevant to your company. We'll be happy to assist, obviously. I'll just say another thing, maybe it wasn't clear, that the solution is SaaS solution, so you don't need to install it on your premise. It's can be reached from everywhere in the world, and can be it's very easy to deploy.
All right, that's perfect. Okay, Harold, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Ron, and to all listeners. This was the first of the three we have decided to show you. We have the next one coming up 12th of January. This is the last for this year, and that is about social network detection, looking at hate speech, etc., on the social network. And 19th of January, we have decided to show a weapon detection tool. So you're welcome back to those, and maybe we also will show other things which is developed in the Impetus project, but we will come back to that. So that is the last of our webinars this 2022. And I wish you all a very good Christmas, and see you again in the next year. Thank you all. And thank you, Ron, again, for presenting one of the tools which is part of the Impetus Solutions. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.